Hi folks, my name is Stephen Murphy, and I'm a partner at the law firm of Block, O'Toole and Murphy, one of New York's best personal injury law firms. What's a personal injury case? That's a question I get asked quite a bit, and it's really easy to explain, I think. And it's our job to protect the public for when other people, other actors, whether it's people or companies, when they don't act reasonably. And when they don't act reasonably, it hurts somebody. And that can take the form of a lot of different scenarios. It could be a construction accident or a car or truck accident. It could be a slip and fall because someone didn't take particular care to make sure that their walkway was safe or the streets were safe. It could be a premises accident, a ceiling collapse. There are thousands of different examples of how a personal injury case can evolve. But really, it's when someone doesn't conduct themselves in a reasonably safe way. What is a personal injury case all about? Well, you don't tar and feather the person who did the wrongdoing. You don't take them out and beat them with a baseball bat. You go to court and you seek money damages. And the idea here is you want to make the victim as whole as you possibly can. Put them in the spot that they would have been had the accident not occurred. So what does a personal injury case really entail? So you have a case, what steps are your lawyers taking initially to protect you? Well, every case starts with an intake and an investigation. Your lawyer should carefully interview you and any witnesses that are available to speak to about the accident. And then they've got to investigate the circumstance of the accident and who's responsible. Once that investigation is concluded, the lawyer should be prepared to make a decision about whether or not to file a lawsuit. And if that lawsuit's filed, they'll be filing it asserting that certain people or companies did something wrong, and those people or companies will have a chance to legally respond. They'll have their own lawyers and they will respond in court. And after that paperwork takes place, after a lawsuit is filed, there's a thing in the law called discovery. It's an exchange of information. We will hand over some of the materials that we have, and we will receive some of the materials from our opponent about the circumstances of the accident and things that are important for us to consider in evaluating the case. As part of discovery, depositions are conducted. And that's when sworn testimony is taken from people who are important to the case. So if you're a victim, you'll be deposed. The other side will have a chance to ask you very specific questions. Now, a good lawyer is going to protect you by preparing you for that deposition. The other side is also susceptible to deposition. Your attorney will engage the other side and find out who the appropriate witnesses are for them to develop your case. You will frequently be asked to submit to a medical examination by a doctor that's designated by the other side. While this sounds like it's a process that should all be wrapped up in about 45 minutes, it does take some time. After depositions and after the medical exam, you'll have a chance to sit down with your lawyer and evaluate your case. Conceptualize whether a settlement in your case makes sense. Your lawyer should be a seasoned negotiator, someone who has experience in getting the most possible out of an insurance company that's defending your case. Now, settlement negotiations will lead to a resolved case more than 95% of the time. But for that 5% that go to trial, you want to have a seasoned, experienced trial lawyer. Now, a personal injury lawsuit, it can seek certain specific damages. Right? It can seek compensation for your pain and suffering. Right? That's a legal term, and I like to look at it like this. You're allowed to recover for the impact that the accident has had on your life, how it's changed your ability to live your life comfortably, to enjoy the things that were important to you. So that's one thing. How has this impacted your life? And another way that you can recover in a personal injury lawsuit is for your medical expenses. How about your out-of-pocket expenses? Who should be responsible for those? It's the person that's accountable for this accident. So if someone else caused your accident, your lawsuit can seek redress for the medical expenses that you've incurred as a result of the accident. You also can seek compensation for your lost wages. Now, some people are knocked out of the box. They can't work because of an accident. Sometimes their inability to work is temporary, so you can get compensation for the money you lost for the time that you're out of work. But what about the instances, the rarer instances, but significant instances, where you can never go back to work? Then what? Well, your lawsuit has to be able to seek recovery for not only time that you've missed up until the point where your lawsuit is being heard by a jury, but also what lies ahead. A good lawyer will look at your present, but also focus on your future and make sure that the defendant's held accountable for what they've done to you. Make sure that they are responsible for putting you in the best possible position after your accident. When you're thinking about a lawsuit and you're analyzing how this is going to play out, the factors that a lawyer is going to look at is who's at fault. They're going to look at the severity of your injuries and the other damages associated with your case. And they're also going to focus on insurance, because frequently when you bring a lawsuit, the insurance is going to be the one entity that's responsible for paying for your losses. There's also the question of how long does a lawsuit take? And that's something that's impossible to answer, but it's not some fly-by-night operation that should be over in 30 to 60 days. You have to be patient and show endurance, that you're willing to wait for the right result. How soon do you have to bring a lawsuit? Well, in New York and in any state in this country, there is a statute of limitations. And most of the time in New York, your statute of limitations is 3 years, but it's very case and fact specific. So you want to talk to a lawyer sooner rather than later, so you can understand how much time you have to bring a lawsuit. The most important thing in understanding your personal injury case is having the right advocate, having a lawyer that you can trust, having a law firm that you can rely on, a law firm with a track record that makes you feel comfortable, but also, frankly, scares the other side a little bit. You want someone who has taken real significant verdicts, who has persuaded juries with powerful arguments. That's the kind of law firm that makes the defense attorney and the insurance company shudder. And that's the kind of lawyer you want by your side. I appreciate your time.